All right. Well, now I gotta check the. Ooh, okay. Audio's going. I couldn't think of an intro. How is it going? People viewing in on the Scrub Lords channel. I don't really do intros. I haven't. I'm terrible at intros and outros, and just making videos in general. But this is a channel that covers nerd things, nerdy things. If the audio sounds weird, I'm testing out a different way of recording audio. Uh, if you're new to this channel, thanks for watching. You're probably telling yourself to stop watching this video because I haven't gotten to the tier list yet. Little background. Oh, I hit my mic. Ooh, bad. I'm terrible at making videos, as I said. Haven't made a video in so long. Typically, it's about games and movies. I think my channel is listed under gaming. No more of that. Scrublords is branching out. For anybody that's new and nobody that knows me, which is probably everybody, nobody watched these videos. I like a couple things. I like movies and TV shows. I kind of branch them together in my head. I like games and I like books and comic books. Those are like. I also yawn a lot when I make these videos and cough. I'm gonna. I don't really have a way to stop that, but I like books a lot, and I read a lot. None of my friends read like I do. I burp a lot too. Sorry. Um. So I figured, why not talk about books somehow, and review/rank the newest series I just trudged through. Not trudged. I enjoyed my way through it. Dune, upcoming movie. I'm trying to get on that movie hype. Trying to get a little drizzle, a little drop of. I don't know what I'm talking about. Let's get into it. Let's start with Dune 1. I love these covers, by the way. I don't know who they're by. They're kind of cropped. I didn't make this tier list. If I did, there'd be an F on it. Um, but we're gonna start with Dune 1. Putting that thing in a fat A tier. Now I read this book over a year ago, maybe 2 years ago. I read this book a while ago and then I stopped. But this book, this book is very slow. It's very hard to get through at first because there's a lot of words and terms and characters you gotta know and get used to. It's very hard, but once you engross yourself and get about over halfway through the book, as when you have your understanding of the world and it gets good. This book is fantastic. Um, put it in A tier because there's better in the Dune series. That's why it's there. Excuse me. I'm sorry. Should I edit that out? I'm not going to. I'm lazy. But this book is fantastic. I recommend it to any sci-fi fan, even though it is a bit weird. I recommend you finish it. Any sci-fi fan that reads. Don't if you don't really read books, don't go out of your way to read Dune. That's fucking weird. I told myself I wasn't gonna cuss in this video, but okay. Um, but if you like sci-fi and you like reading or audiobooks, you can do an audiobook if you like that. Read Dune. It's got fun characters. I mean, they're not the greatest characters. Frank Herbert, author of the Dune series, isn't like the greatest at character work until later. But it's just a nice book all around, and it deserves to have helped. It deserves its place in Sci-Fi Hall of Fame. Now, moving on to Dune Messiah, which is the second book in the Dune series. It's in the C tier. It's not a bad book by any means, but it's very boring. Nothing. And I don't want to say it's boring. It's hard to. There's just nothing happens in Dune Messiah. It just didn't grab me. Best cover out of all of these, by the way. The Dune Messiah cover is very good. But just not a lot happens in it. It's just not that great. But so I guess if I had to rank them, I mean, I'm putting them in tiers. But if I had to rank Dune 1, I think Dune 1 is a 10 out of 10 book just because of where it is, what it's done for the sci-fi genre. I think Messiah is a 7. It's not bad. You can't skip it. You have to read it, which, obviously. Um but it's okay. Now, this might be controversial. This upcoming part might be controversial, but this is how I feel about it. Children Children of Dune, the third book in the series, easy S tier, another 10 out of 10. This book, like I said, it could just be me. This book grabbed me. It didn't stall anything. I forgot to mention, Messiah had this problem where it repeats a lot of information. It's been a while since I've read Messiah, though, but Children to me didn't stall. It was interesting, and it just kept going. Um, I don't want to spoil anything in this video for people who haven't read Dune or maybe they want to read Dune, but I liked the main characters and Children. Thought there were some interesting dynamics. The ideas presented were interesting. Some of the not twists I don't want to say, but some of the I guess twists and turns in the book were good. Children was a really good book for me. Now, the fourth book, God Emperor of Dune. Now, typically when you do tier lists, you're supposed to place one in front of the other to see which one's better. For me, God Emperor Dune, another 10 out of 10 in S. I don't know if it's better than Children. I think you need them both because they're both interconnected, sort of, and they both matter to each other. But I just loved God Emperor of Dune is a lot of talking. That's all that book is until the end. It's talking, 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 talking. But to me, this is where the talking got super interesting. It's where it really caved out because there's this whole thing in the books from it starts in Children and then there's a lot of it in God Emperor and then it continues sort of it's this thing called the Golden Path for humanity. And it's a very interesting idea. And some interesting ideas in God Emperor that I just think worked extremely well. And I really liked two of the main characters in it. The rest of the characters in God Emperor weren't that great, but those two main characters shine above for me, just to the point where I think this book is fantastic. Now, these next two, they're a bit weird. They're oddly placed for me in my head. Sorry if you can hear me breathing, by the way. I'm kind of thinking, that's why there's pauses. I know YouTubers shouldn't YouTubers, whatever. I'm not a YouTuber. I just make videos. But people, when you make videos, you shouldn't are you a YouTuber if you make I'm not getting into it. Okay, whatever. But yeah, sorry for pauses. Sorry if you hear me breathing. Yada yada yada. The fifth book, Heretics of Dune. I liked it. There's two plots happening in this book. It's hard to say. Like I said, I don't want to do spoilers, but there's two plots that happen in Heretics. There's the one. I'm trying to think of how to say this without spoilers. Sorry. How do I say this? Well, there's the one with the characters I didn't really care about, and then there's the one with the characters I did care about. Now, plot. They're both. There's no plot A or plot B because I think they're both so not interconnected, but they're both so needed for the book. But plot with characters I didn't care about was good. It's well written. These books are all well written, but this plot didn't get interesting until the middle of it, of this plot. And then the plot with characters I did care about, for me, was interesting the whole way through because it was just sort of a mystery going on. You don't really know what's happening. I mean, you know what's happening, but there's missing key points, and there's really interesting things. Um, so for Heretics, I'd give it an 8. Because I guess if Messiah is a 7, which is the low bar, Heretics would be an 8. Um, Now, the last one, oh no, Chapter House is definitely better than Messiah. Now, Chapter House is the last book that Frank Herbert, the original author of Dune, got to write. Chapter House is a 7.5, low 8, maybe high 7. I don't really know. So I like Chapter House. The plot in Chapter House is really good, and it's cool, and it seems cool. There's some awesome stuff at the end of this book, and some really well written characters. However, Chapter House is about 600 pages, roughly. I finished Chapter House earlier this week, or last week. And it's about 600, maybe 700 pages. I don't really remember. Now, the issue with this, though, is Chapter House is about the Bene Gesserit sisterhood, they're in every Dune book, but like Heretics and Chapter House are about them. And now I know a lot of people like Chapter House for this reason, which is fine. It shows you like the daily life of the Bene Gesserit sisterhood. My issue with that is at least what feels like for 200 pages of the book. The characters will meet and during their daily lives, and they'll be like, "So, sister, what's your plan to deal with Blanc?" And then the character they're talking to will be like, "Well, I don't know yet, but we can't trust this." And then the other sisters will be like, yes, that is right. And then they'll leave. And then, like, later in the book, for another what feels like 200 pages of the book, like what could be cut and you could just have less pages, would be they walk in the room, or walk into a room, and they all talk. And then as they're leaving, the main sister, the Mother Superior, I don't know why I'm not saying her name. I don't know how to pronounce it properly, and I don't want to get clowned on by Dune fans who watch this. But I'm already gonna get clowned on for my ranking. I'm sure. But the Mother Superior will be like, "I wonder if they figured out my plan yet." And then the other sisters leaving will always respond to be like, "There's no way that's her plan. It can't be her plan." And then Mother Superior will be like, "I'm sure they figured out my plan. And I know exactly that they're thinking it can't be my plan because it's too daring, but that is exactly my plan." At least for 200 pages. You could cut all of that shit, and the book would be 10 times shorter and better. um, Now, the thing about Chapter House is, like I said, Frank Herbert passed, and it has a cliffhanger, but it's honestly a cliffhanger that you don't need resolution for, which is a weird thing to say, but for me, I think it works. Um, this is from now on. There'll be spoilers for Chapter House and the 2 remaining books. So at the end of Chapter House, two factions are remaining. One character, Merbella, is combining the Bene Gesserit Sisterhood and the Honored Matres, I think it's Matres, to form a better Bene Gesserit Sisterhood. And then all the other characters, like the Duncan Idaho Gola, the Teg Miles, or Miles Teg, it's Miles Teg Gola, Shiana, I think is how you say her name, and a bunch of other characters, take some worms, and they're gonna go remake Dune, which is like the sand planet everybody knows, but they're gonna go remake it on another planet with all these sandworms, and they're gonna like restart the Fremen life. And that's how it ends. And then they tease the next threat that would be in the final Dune book. But it's kind of a tease. It's these two. It's an old couple, like a male and a female, old people, and they're like, "Damn, you let him escape from the net. That's not good." And then that's the female, and then the dude would be like, "Oh well, it's fine, whatever. Let him escape from the net," and then it ends. So it's like they set up this threat, but they don't. Frank doesn't really do much to set it up. He's just kind of like, it exists. So to me, it's kind of like whatever. Like the enemy, the threat is nonchalant about it. Now, here's where we get to the Black Sheep, Frank Herbert's son, Brian, and Kevin J. Anderson, I believe, is this man's name, um, decided to write the ending of Dune. They said they could do it themselves. Now, I didn't read these books. I read reviews and I looked up the wiki plot summary. They're terrible. They seem terrible. Like, maybe if I read it, I could give it a 6 or a 5. But reading the wiki plots and hearing people's reactions and watching like summaries on YouTube, these seem terrible. They seem like they go against everything Frank Herbert talked about in his original 6 Dune books. There's magic and time travel, I think, and I don't know much about it because I purged it from the memory banks. I didn't want it anymore. It's gone, forever gone. But I genuinely think they're terrible, or they seem terrible. Sorry if I'm offending anybody who likes them. Go for it. But I guess that's the end of this video. I don't really have anything else to add. It's kind of a boring video. It's not really funny at all. But I want to put something out, and I wanted to put this out. So, it's my YouTube channel. I can do what I want with it, right? That's how this works. So, if anybody's watching this and liked this video, I doubt you did. I completely understand. Why don't you subscribe, like, leave a comment? I don't care. YouTube likes when people like and comment because I think they advertise it more if you do that. So, do that. Thanks. You could literally, you know what? If you want to comment, just leave a comment that says poop. So, thanks for watching, and I'll see anybody watching this next time.